Greetings, Prof. Can you hear me? Well, this might be another case of connectivity, but while I still wait and hopefully we can hear Prof and Prof can hear us and contribute, I'll go back to you, Rotimi. What ways can we explore? What are the ways as a young person on the continent of Africa and seeing the different hues, colors and nuances of the countries that make up the African continent? What ways could we explore to develop the human capital of the youth and channel them to more value-added activities which would impact on the economy and the development of the continent?
I think that there are a number of things that we can begin to focus on, and I'm happy that my colleague has spoken a lot about the impact of social media. When I speak to people, I say social media has democratized the opportunities for people to create content by themselves and market it to their peers for it to be consumed, and also when they hit a certain scale, be able to make money from that process. In the past, developing content was the sole purview of big television stations, and young people on the continent can only consume. And what that has done in a sense in the last couple of years and decades following the revolution of the media industry that produced content for people all over the world, especially on the continent, to consume, what it has also done is that we've seen the rise and emergence of young stars who rise from nothing to fame in a couple of months. These days, 20 years ago, when I left university, if you asked my graduating class, hey, is there any job known as a social media manager or content creator? We didn't know what that was called. Today, people are hired to create content on social media, to develop strategies, to study the platforms, to look at TikTok, to develop strategy for that, to do social media. But at the end of the day, is that people are able to generate content based upon the ideals of the continent and put that forward on social media and make an income for it. And that's one strand of it. The second strand of it is that people are also able to create commerce. If you take a poll of young people who have a job, who are somewhat within the middle class in any of the African countries, they will tell you they are shopped on Instagram, they've ordered for a taxi on a mobile phone app, they've ordered for food delivery to be delivered to their doorstep in their houses based on something they saw on social media and they love. It gives people the opportunity to showcase their skills, showcase their talent, and also market the things that they do. And that represents an opportunity. In many countries on the continent, I just focus on the bad side of social media. Is there a bad side of social media? Yes, it is. In some countries, we've seen social media being banned, Twitter being banned in Nigeria, controlled in some other countries as a result of elections and stuff like that. But we need to look at how we can harness these kinds of tools for our nation's development and development overall. But not just to focus on the fact that social media is a silver bullet. It is not. I think that the bedrock of developing Africa's future is our education, and we need to get it right. We need to ensure that we have quality education, not just an education that presupposes everybody will get into a higher institution. No, we need to focus on our technical and vocational education. How can we build the quality vocational skills? Today, if you want to hire a mason in Abuja or in Accra, it's very difficult to find a professional mason because the system at which we grow them and we train them has been based on the apprenticeship model and sustained over the years. We need to change that into a system that recognizes certification, that looks at professionalism and can guarantee a certain quality across board. That way, we can generate income for young people who don't have the opportunity to go to higher institutions, but they can make a decent living to support themselves, their family, and make wonderful contributions to their society and community at large.
Thank you very much, Rotimi. Now, for all our virtual participants, the ground rule is if you have any question or any comment, just drop them in the chat box. If it's a question, let's know who you're addressing it to, and there will be a time where those questions will come to the fore, and then we would ask them and make your voices heard, because on the African Economic Congress platform, it's all about making your voices heard and ensuring that your contributions are heard. So I see Adam Olale Konlawa raising his hand, so just write your question there and then we'll get back to it. Now, Professor Jonathan Moyo, can you hear us now? Prof. Moyo, can you hear us now? Because so much has been said about education. Could you unmute so you can make your really need your contribution on this session? Please unmute yourself. Unmute the microphone on your Zoom app, please. Okay, I'll come back to you, Angie's. Angie's, for every young African who's looking at you now, after reading your resume, they'll say, oh, you have made it big. Did it come to you quite easy? Because behind every successful journey, there is often an unheard story. So is this something that switched you to where you are now? And how were there moments where you didn't think you could make it, and then you push yourself forward? Brian?
Yeah. So the journey of entrepreneurs in the continent of Africa is a very tough and challenging one for anyone who has put their foot on that path. It's a very lonely street that you have to walk down, but at the end of it, it's very fruitful if you stay focused and you also understand. First of all, you understand what you are trying to do, and then you put together right resources and the right team to be able to build whatever product you are building and trying to put together on the continent. The resources, public resources, are mostly very limited, but the good news is that there's a lot of talent, there's a lot of skill, and there's a lot of people on the continent who are looking for opportunities as well. And if you have a good project, trust me, you can definitely put together and then walk it down.
That's you unfolding the story without telling the story. Now, it is being said that one rich man in the midst of many poor men is actually a very poor man. So they would say a prosperous, diversified economy can't happen in nothingness. It can't happen in a vacuum. It's initiated, led and managed by a competitive and skilled workforce. How many of Brian's have you replicated in your zone to ensure that you're not the only Brian pushing this entrepreneurship? And how competitive and skilled are these people?
I missed the last part of the question. The numbers.
Okay, let me take that again. The first line I did use is, how many Brians have you replicated? It signifies a place of mentorship, the place of going back to the lonely road to say, I am not walking alone. Because a successful continent in a digital economy, in the fourth revolution, would depend on a quality of young people who initiate, lead, and manage through competition and their skills. So, how many youths like you do you have in your space? And are the African youth really ready?
I think mentorship is very important when it comes to development of entrepreneurs and development of skill. And everybody as an entrepreneur, I think almost everybody as an entrepreneur on the continent of Africa has a mentor and mentors. So it's a two-way thing, which definitely comes with how we feel about the particular person in question, mostly the project, the relatability with the project. But for me, I'm working with a lot of people. Currently, we have a handful of projects we're developing. Some are directly owned by my tech company, Abebo. Some are not. I have about 3 people in my space right now who are building their own independent products. And so I'm not the only one doing that. I think a handful of African startups, tech startups, are also doing a lot because it's passion. For me, it's about the passion. If I see any young guy who is very passionate about what they want to do and they want to build, and they're putting in the energy, I'm open. I personally believe most African entrepreneurs are doing the exact same thing, especially in the digital ecosystem, because we all we mostly speak the same language. Yeah.
Professor Jonathan Moyo, if you can hear us, please, could you unmute yourself, because the subject of education is a bedrock through which most of the development for the young people would occur. And like Rotimi would say, if we lose it at the basic education level, then we've lost it. So Prof. Moyo, if you can, could you unmute yourself before I move back to Rotimi? Well, I'll still come back to you, Rotimi. Rotimi, okay. Prof, was that you? Rotimi, I'll come to you. We seem to be having a bit of glitch connecting with Prof. Moyo. Rotimi, what can we do to fix it? I know you had said it has to start from the basic education level before it transcends to where we get to the university. But do you also think that just like in Asia and other developed countries of the world, where most of the subjects are being taught in the local language, it has helped in the development of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics? What can countries on the continent of Africa do to fix this vacuum in the continent's educational system?
All right. In response to your question on what can we do, I think that some of these solutions are already known. I think that various countries need to concentrate on their comparative advantage. And I think for nations like, for instance, in Nigeria, interestingly, we've built a lot of comparative advantages on a number of things. One of it is that because we've hosted oil and gas resources in Nigeria since the early 70s, we've developed a lot of human capital around oil and gas. And interestingly, in my travel across the continent, I have seen that we've exported a lot of our human capital development on oil and gas into several countries around the continent. I'm always proud to see that. In East Africa, you would see that they have focused a lot more on tourism. If you go to Kenya, to Tanzania, they've developed the tourism ecosystem there, and we need to focus on that comparative advantage. In West Africa, in Nigeria, in Ivory Coast, you have that large cocoa belt. We need to begin to come together and say, how do we build the comparative advantage? And we see the markets in Accra, you can buy airport. I can scale up, can access resources, financial resources at good rate in order for them to scale up and hire more people in order to develop the entire ecosystem. So there are emerging opportunities that we see across the continent. We need to continue to support it, and we need to continue to also pull the private sector who are making money in businesses from here to support the growth in our education sector to ensure that we see more investment go there in public schools. We have a lot of challenges in Africa. We have the security challenge, which is now a huge problem, not only in Nigeria, across the entire Sahel. Even in East Africa, they are dealing with the issues of Al-Shabaab across the belt between Ethiopia, Eritrea, Kenya, and the Somalian border. There's a lot of security challenge. But if young people are uneducated, they don't have jobs, they wake up early in the morning till night, they don't know when the next meal is going to come for, and they don't have a place to report to work, then they are idle hands that can be recruited into violent extremism. So we need to arrest this trend by ensuring there's quality education. We can provide vocational education, we can provide skills building, we can provide trade, and that young people, which represent the bulk of African population, can help to energize our economies and produce results. I'm happy for what the tech industry is doing. I've seen what the culture industry, Nollywood movies are doing across the continent. That's also huge. Many of them are actually developed with very little support from government. If we get some of the good stories that we have in the sector. Agricultural sector also holds a lot of farm. Some need to a lot of value across the value chain in processing, in packaging, in exporting these to where it is needed, and in meeting the specific requirement of export. If you want to export sesame seed, for instance, to Europe, there's a certification, there's a process, there's a quality benchmark that you need to meet. Many of our old aged farmers cannot meet it, but we can train our young farmers to be able to meet this demand so that they can earn needed forex.
Now, what do you let me break
in our economy and to support enterprises as they go ahead.
Now, what do you mean? Let me break in your line of thoughts there. You have talked about Nigeria, but what are your last words on how young people can accelerate Africa and build the continent back better? Right? You're the next section.
Well, I think that the number of ways. Nigerian young people have reached a certain level of desperation that if you go into a hall of 100 young people and say, how many of you want to leave Nigeria? 99 of them will raise their hand. Where do you want to go? They want to go to Canada or the UK or the US. Who's going to develop Nigeria? We can't all run away from Nigeria. We have to stay here and fix our own problem. The first opportunity for anyone living in Nigeria.
I said one sentence. I said one sentence, please.
You have to register.
Because we're out of time.
Every 4 years, whoever we vote into government determines a lot policy, where the resources of the nation be invested, whether it will end up in private pockets or to be invested to
Thank you so very much, Rotimi.
In quality education, it's very important.
Thank you. Thank you so very much, Rotimi. I feel between you and Brian, you've done quite a good job in bringing this session all the content that it requires. And this is how we would have to end this session on the youth panel on the final session of African Economic Congress, the virtual and TV edition. Nancy is on standby to say the final thank you, and we coast home. Nancy?
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Glory. Thank you very much, every one of you. Just as we end this session, I want to say that we're ending on an incredible note. We've come to the end of the 2021 African Economic Congress, Accelerate Africa, Building Back Better. 10 sessions, 46 speakers, all in 3 days with a plethora of brilliant ideas shared. All in all, the Congress has been such a profound virtual think tank experience, and we are grateful to all of you that has joined us as we pilot Africa's economy to a magnificent rebound after the devastating effects of COVID-19. On behalf of the African Economic Congress, I say a most honorable thank you to the former president of Ghana, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, and the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, for gracing us with their presence this year. Also to the First Lady of Namibia, Her Excellency Monica Jenkos, for honoring our invitation to interview her for the 2021 AEC magazine. Thank you, Your Excellency. So, our esteemed knowledge partners, Deloitte and AEC would not have happened without your immeasurable output as well as support. Our sponsors and partners, the government, the Nigerian government, I must say, the Central Bank of Nigeria, Nigeria's Bank of Industry, NASENI, Securities and Exchange Commission, Erisco Foods, Casprints, Africa Independent Television. We want to say thank you, Signal, as well as Makeup Empire and Bookmatrix. Thank you very much. AEC says a big thank you, and it's from me to you on behalf of our team. Thank you very much. Let us be the change that we want to see in Africa. Thank you, Glory, for being an amazing MC for 3 days. Lydia, thank you also. We'll see you next year, everyone. Goodbye. Africa. Goodbye. 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 Goodbye.